It's obviously been trying times over the past several months for all of our province's institutions. Saskatchewan's Western Development Museum's four branches across the province certainly have felt the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the good news is there is maybe some light coming at the end of the tunnel. Happy to be joined by Joan Canagan, who is the CEO of the Western Development Museum. Joan, first of all, before we get into the reopening plan and what that's going to look like, just give us a general idea. What have the last several months been like for you?
Well, I mean, the last several months have been really interesting for us at the WDM. Obviously, when we closed at the middle of March, we immediately went into what does that look like? How do we keep our staff safe and employed? And I've got a really creative team, so we immediately launched into a lot of behind the scenes work in terms of creating online programming, online exhibits. We've got a special website dedicated to collecting COVID-19 stories and people's experiences of COVID-19, as well as just ways that we could support parents and kids at home with activities and things to do all online. And then also behind the scenes, our staff, went to work basically giving all of our locations a really thorough cleaning, repainting from top to bottom. So, an example here in Saskatoon, the cafe staff completely repainted in the cafe in Saskatchewan Hall, pulled out all sorts of those, those rooms that you've got where you're storing things and you keep saying, yeah, one of these days I'm going to clean that out and reorganize it. So we got a lot of that work done over the last 4 months, and it's been really great. The staff have been working really hard and keeping everything going.
So everything's going to look nice and shiny and new when people return, which is happening in the coming weeks. That has to be exciting for you. We'll get to the specifics on that in just a minute, but first of all, just the feeling among the staff, and as well, of course, the volunteers at the WDM, because they play such a huge role. There's got to be a lot of excitement as you do get ready to safely reopen.
Yes, our staff are thrilled to be able to be welcoming visitors back in. We're just so excited to be able to have people in our spaces again, because really as a museum, we're here to serve the community. And while we've been serving the community virtually, it doesn't have quite the same feel when you can actually see and talk to and interact with the people and see how they're interacting with our exhibits and the things that we've got showcasing Saskatchewan's history and innovation. We can't wait to welcome our volunteers back as well. That we're still not going to be able to have volunteers in actually volunteering yet. We've been focusing on just getting our spaces safe for the public, and our next step is figuring out what we have to do to ensure that all of our volunteers are safe. But we're really excited with that. We're there one step closer to being able to have everybody back in the museum.
And in terms of how that will look, it'll be a little bit different here in Saskatoon, where we are, as opposed to the other three branches in Yorkton, North Battleford, and Moose Jaw. Things are rolling out a little bit earlier in those three branches. Can you give us just a bit of a rundown of exactly how how the reopening will look?
Certainly. The reopening for Moose Jaw, Yorkton, and North Battleford will be for members and volunteers on August the 5th, and then for the general public on August the 12th. And then Saskatoon will open for members and volunteers to visit on August the 12th, with the public coming in on August the 19th. And in terms of how the museums are going to look, it's actually going to be fairly similar in terms of our exhibits. We've spent a lot of time getting, signage and, the arrows that you see on floors so that we can help guide visitors safely through our exhibits and avoid creating areas of congestion. An interesting fact I just heard from our exhibits department is that we've actually printed 675 square feet of COVID related signage and floor stickers and things like that. So our department has been really busy with a lot of printing. There are a few of the really highly interactive exhibits that we are going to have to close just because we can't keep them clean and sanitized. And probably the biggest thing was we'll be reminding visitors not to touch any of the artifacts or the exhibits because we simply can't disinfect them using chemical disinfectant. Those types of cleaners are incredibly harsh on artifacts, and it wouldn't be very helpful for them. But in terms of most of our exhibits, everything will be open. And here in Saskatoon, in addition to the the museum opening on the 19th, the Boomtown Cafe will be opening. Their hours will be slightly different. They're going to be opening from 9 till 3, but I know that the cafe staff can't wait to see the regulars that always come in to visit.
I can't wait to get back in there either. I love Boomtown Cafe. Always good treats there when you pay a visit to the WDM. So things will look somewhat different, but people will be able to get in and see those things that they are familiar with. There will be as well a bit of an adjustment, I guess, in terms of programming. You know, there are certain things that people perhaps anticipate each and every year, things like Pioneera and other summertime fall programming. Obviously, there's some adjustments in terms of that kind of programming going on.
We know that Department of Education has basically advised no field trips, particularly for the fall. So we're now looking also at ways that we can deliver um, virtual programming, either pre-recorded or in a live format. So we're starting to put together a whole series of new programming to help support teachers and students when they come back to the classroom, to be able to, you know, provide them with that extra bit of learning and engagement that they would normally get from a visit with the museum when they can't actually come and see us. So we're looking and reviewing all of our fall programming to see what we can do to still engage everybody and you know, have you know, a lot of fun for students who would normally be coming out, particularly in Saskatoon when we do the Grade 4 Harvest Festival. Unfortunately, that's one thing that we won't be able to offer this year.
Of course, the WDM, all about celebrating our past, but great to see you embracing what's happening in our present and coming up with a plan to deal with that, as well as planning for the future. Lots of information for folks to digest. I'm guessing probably the best way, if they didn't quite catch everything or they want a few more details, maybe head to the website.
Yeah, if you go to our website at wdm.ca, all of the information around what to expect when you visit, the various programs that we have going on, how to take advantage of some of our virtual exhibits that we've started putting online. We've got a very popular cooking video show around historic recipes. So all of that's available on our website at wdm.ca.
Well, Joan, we can't wait to get back out there to the Western Development Museum here in Saskatoon and as well as the other branches right around the province. Thanks so much for chatting with us today and good luck as the reopening rolls out.
Great. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing everybody at the museum.